What a crazy roller coaster week we had. I'm going to go over two tickers and give you some price targets for Monday, and hopefully things will start to turn around, but fingers crossed on that one. First up is MNQ, the Micro E Mini Futures. We ended the week at $17,539. To the north side from where we are takes us to $17,677. This is one level of resistance and a potential take profit area. Above that takes us to two standard deviations and another level of resistance at 17,999, very close to VWAP in the blue, which is 18,017. Above that, at another potential take profit area, 18,158. And should we be so lucky as to get to this level, but don't hold your breath, $18,327. All this talk of tariffs has tanked the market, and I don't think the bleeding has stopped yet, which gives you an opportunity to potentially buy in, possibly dollar cost average, and hopefully things will turn around. But obviously it's not going to happen overnight. Now, to the south side is one level of support and a potential buy-in area, 17,365, 17,204, and at -4 standard deviations, and another potential buy-in area and a potential stop loss area, 17,040. This is also a stop loss area as well as this line. It depends on what your objective is and how you like to trade. If you're conservative or you just like to let it ride and see what happens. But looking left, you can see this is a clear level of support and a buy-in. This is resistance. We came through, fell back down, but this is also resistance here. Many levels of resistance in between, but I just typically play the -2 and 2. Now, this also bounced at support. We didn't get here. We didn't get to the line, but here we did right on cue, and then there was a bounce. But now we are in the red again. But we could stair step our way down and then bounce off of resistance. And it's been a while since I've looked at this. And this level is resistance, and then we fell back down, went sideways. So we either follow the line, the middle of the trend line here, down, or this line down, or this one, because we have not reversed course yet. Now I'm going to take this to the daily time frame. It's been a very long time since I looked at this. All right, clear area of resistance and a sell-off. Buy-in, sell-off, resistance. Back down here, sell-off. Clear area of resistance and a sell-off. And then we didn't quite make it there, but started to bleed through, fell past. This is now resistance on the way down, but we bled right through and then bounced between this line and this line. And look at that. Support, support, support. Support here as well. And the last time I looked at it, we were at 16,820. And from here, where I tracked it to this line, that was a 33% return off of a $16,820 price tag from here. That's pretty nice. And then obviously what goes up must come down. And sure enough, we reversed course. You cannot expect things to continue to chug along without consolidating, going down. Market makers don't want to buy in at that price. Something's going to happen, whether it's news, analysts, hedge funds. Oops, let me just delete that. Let me try that one more time. Actually, why it gets wonky is because of the magnet. So from here to this line is about a 22% fall from grace. Let's remove that. Let's remove that. But I would anticipate a sell-off off of here, and we absolutely did that. Could we go down more? Oh, yeah. And bounce off something around here even? But I don't know. On the daily, even though we have started to go down on the 5, the daily shows in the big picture we are still in an upward channel. RSI, what does that tell me? It's still bleeding, has not reversed course. Check your MACD as well. That's the daily. Oh, and obviously I anticipate a sell-off here because all I do is use this as support and resistance. And on the weekly, same thing, still bleeding, still going down. And on the monthly, going down. I forgot to look at the 5-minute. What does the 5-minute tell us? Oh, still creeping down, but who knows? We could cross here and then potentially go back up because we are, whoops, option R, close to supports down here. So I anticipate us to get down to this level and then bounce off of that because you'll get a bounce within the day, even if you're going down overall. Notice how I changed this to the larger time frame, and now that made my price target or my price label go wonky. That's a problem with TradingView because way back in the past, it never used to do that. All right, the next one I want to go over is Microsoft. Sticking with the M's here. There's so many tickers I'd love to go over. I've been just so slammed. All right, 358.98 is where we ended the day, and I wanted to go over this because there are gaps that I need to clean up, and I'll show you that in a moment. All right, to the north side takes us to the middle of the trend, and that is 365.69. That is resistance and a potential take profit area. And above that, oh, we are also, that is basically at VWAP as well, 366.09. I just turned it on for ya, just so you could see. VWAP within the linear, 372.80, 376.35, and don't hold your breath, 379.74. Now to the south side, because we are basically at support, but if we actually touch the line, I definitely will anticipate some sort of a bounce, 358.91, but I anticipate it to bleed out some more since we're still going down. 355.52, and then back to this line. This was at 351.75, an area I've marked before, and that was a price target, I believe, but I'll flip it over to the daily so you can see. Now, as far as gaps, this gap opened up since we got slammed to the south side, bounced at support, passed through resistance, and then made our way back down. So this is an opportunity in the big picture because we will not just continue to bleed out. That just will not happen. At some point we will reverse. Okay, so that's an opportunity up there. This gap, when I tracked it for myself, I don't do videos every day, but I look at the stock market every day, which is terrible, but I can't help myself. 378.60, and then that one closed. Oh my goodness, I'm getting tired. All right, I have had a long week. Okay, this is another opportunity to the upside at 390.28, and as I mentioned, there were gaps that I needed to clean, and this is definitely one of them. So we touched right here to the upside, and that took us to 386.22. So congrats if you went long and you made some money off of that little play. Okay, and then this one also hit an area where I marked out, 388.57. And then what about this nasty one to the downside that opened up on Friday, March the 14th? Well, that finally touched on March 28th. Look at that. So all we did basically is we went up, well, and then down, but I'm not going to move my cursor that way. But basically, we went like this, and then, well, I went too far, slammed back down. But, you know, you're not going to just go like this. It's going to whip you around all over the place. So you can't expect it just to go up or just to go straight down because there will be bounces also to the upside, even if it's going down. Now, this gap closed 393.20, and that gap, let's see here. Oh, look at this. That's an opportunity when we go long, and that will take us to 396.56, and this gap closed. You get the big picture what I've done. All right, if we lost half the value of Microsoft, I would still be up big time. I'm deep into Microsoft, and it does pay a dividend yield. And what are we at? I haven't looked at this. 0.88%. The next payment is 0.8383 cents. The next X date is May 15th. Oh, that's forever, it seems. Okay, then we have this gap to the downside. That took us to 415.78. And then this one, but I'm going to stop here and not bore you to tears, but I will remove that price label. Okay, one more just because it's right there. That took us to 438.22. Now, let's go to the daily, even though I should be marking this out on the same time frame that I marked it because it gets wonky. All right, so this took us down to 402.01. When did it open? It opened on, this wound opened up on Monday, September 9th of 2024. That's how long this has been in play to the downside. And finally, we closed it out on Monday, February 24th of 2025. This is no longer a threat to our account. The wound has been cauterized. We were looking good, closed out, which is what we need. And then got slammed down again because we needed to fill this gap. Right here, this wound took us down to 395.58. We bled out some more, and then we finished and closed out that one. I just want all of these gaps to the downside to just close. I know it's painful, but that's where you can make some money going to the upside or to the downside. Okay, I closed that one at 407. I can't talk and chew gum at the same time. That's what I'm doing with these gaps here. All right, done. That took us down to 397.91, no longer in play. Delete, delete. And this one that I drew out roughly closed on Thursday, April the 24th of 2024. Oh my goodness, I haven't gone back to close that out. That opened up on Tuesday, March 24th. Something like that. Again, it gets wonky on the 5-minute because I'm on the daily. Oh my, look at all these gaps that I have called out for myself. That took us down to 389.77. And this one, ooh, I think this one might be still in play. I don't know. I got to drag that out. I got to drag this one out. But this one already closed. Let's close her up officially. 367 to the downside. That looks like a touch there, but did it really? Well, maybe it did. All right, I'll move it back. It touched her right there to the downside, 367. All right, so we have this gap and this gap. Where did it touch, or did it? All right, this one, and then I'm done. I'm going to do these three. Okay, that's done. That took us down to 375.83-ish, and that took us down to 367.98, and this one is done as well. All right, that took us to 366.06. Oh, what about this one? All right, well, nope. This one is still in play to the downside. That will haunt us until we close it out at 356.63-ish, and we're very close in a downward channel on the daily, and that's Very easy to get to, so I anticipate that to close. These gaps that I'll have to fix later, that I'm not sure because I have to look at it when we get closer. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. I'm not going to go there. All right. So this gap to the downside, if you like to go short, let me just close this one. See that I drew on the daily and it did not line up, but there we go. That touched again at 366-ish. All right, this could, I think it's going to touch on Monday. If not for sure, yeah, Monday. It's going to touch Monday. Monday. All right, that's your target to the downside. Look, I drew that out so far, but I'll clean that up tomorrow or Monday. All right, that does it for me. I will go over Newsmax and Palantir very soon. I did buy more Palantir just for trading, not to keep to day trade, and boy did Newsmax run like crazy to only get slammed right back down, but I called that for myself, that is. But I'll show you the chart later. If there's a ticker that you'd like me to go over, please let me know, and have a great trading week.